Hi, this is Sara Levin, the Artful Inker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today I'm here with this fun Celebrate Sunflowers card with a few little techniques that I think you'll like. So let me set this aside and let's get started. For this card, we'll be using the Celebrate Sunflowers stamp set and the coordinating sunflowers dies. We're going to start by putting down our silicone craft sheet and a piece of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper. I've got my Stampin' Spritzer here filled with water and my Bumblebee ink pad, and I'm just going to squeeze it to transfer ink to the lid. Okay, now that we've done that, let's prime our water painter brush. These are new with this, the 2020 Stampin' Up! Annual Catalog. And I'm just squeezing it so that I get water down into the brush. There we go. Okay, and a little bit of water into the tray here. Next, going to stamp my watercolor paper. I don't want it saturated, but I do want it wet to start working. And we're just going to create a wash in the Bumblebee ink in some of that wet. And I'm laying down some extra color in some spots to create some tonal variation. Let's squeeze this one more time. And pick up a little bit more and brush it in. Okay. And then I'm going to shift this and give it a little spritz down here. And clean out my brush just on a piece of toweling. Squeeze it a couple of times, and when your brush isn't leaving Bumblebee, it's clean. So let's move this out of the way. And I've got a little bit of the Just Jade that I want to put down here. So squeeze my brush. I dried it out as I was cleaning it. And same thing, I just want to get a couple of little darker looking spots in here. Okay, clean the brush again. Squeezing it'll help force the water out of the brush tip, and comes out clean. We're good to go. So let's move that aside, and then I've got my Magenta Madness. And let's wet the brush one more time. And dab in a little bit of the darker there, and we are good to go. So now it's time to let this dry, or you can gently heat it to get it to dry a little more quickly. If it's curling too much, spritz it with your water on the back just lightly, and it will release and flatten. And I'll be back when we're ready for the next step. So the watercolor paper is dry, and I've set it up in my Stamparatus with the large sunflower stamp that I'm going to ink in Cinnamon Cider. It is another of the new in colors. And let's just give this a rub all over and open it up. And got a little spot here that's been missed. let's see, which I think is right down here. And this is why it's on the Stamparatus, so that I can go back in and get those spots. Still a little, so I'm going to give it a little more pressure here. And that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to turn my paper, and I'm lining it up just over here on the edge, using it as my guide. And let's get the cinnamon cider ink out of the way. And we're going to take this plate off, and then I'm going to turn this and put this plate on. And I need my Just Jade ink, and we're going to ink the leaf with the Just Jade. And then I'm going to hinge step it down one and ink again. Okay, and there we go for our leaves and sunflower. Now I am going, let's move this out of the way. Next, I'm going to take these to die cut. Now you may want to watch my one simple trick video for lining up the die for this stamp. It'll keep you from doing that turn and turn and turn to find the right place. Really quite simple. Give me a moment and I'll be back. Next, I've got my silicone craft sheet again, and a piece of very vanilla cardstock, and my bumblebee ink pad, and then the smaller sunflower. And we're just going to stamp all over, not worrying about if there's a little bit of overlap with these. I'm turning them so that we get different parts of the design. Let's move this up just a little bit on here. Want leaves to show up in different places. Okay, so now I've got that broad tip brush, and I'm just going to quickly, I want it to be damp but not wet. A little bit more water, and we're just going to brush over this a little bit to get it to bleed in spots. You don't want it full on wet, because we're not looking to soak the paper, just bleed out a little bit of the color. And now I'm going to emboss that with the Tasteful Textile embossing folder, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and I have this piece that's been embossed with the Tasteful Textile. Maybe you can see the texture better on camera looking this way. And then our watercolor paper, a piece of the cinnamon cider paper, our watercolor leaves, a couple of sprigs. Everybody loves some sprigs. Our Magenta Madness center for our flower. And we're going to start with putting this together. So I'm going to lay down a piece of tear and tape here near the bottom of my card, and I'm going to slide it over here to straighten it up on the grid to make sure that I'm running a fairly straight line of tape. And let's tear that off and give it a quick burnish with my fingernail and slide the point of my take your pick under here to pull that loose. And I've got some of this lovely bumblebee gingham ribbon, and we're just going to lay a line of that down, and then of course we need to cut that off. Now if you like to cut first, That's just a 4-inch strip. I do use my ribbon directly from the spool. And then we're going to use multi-purpose glue on the back of this piece. Takes just a tiny bit of that glue. And there's our center. Inside, not center. Okay, and then next we need dimensionals on the back of our embossed piece. You may want to put a few extra when you emboss a piece. It does soften the fibers of the cardstock. And I'm going to do one here and one over here. And my reason for choosing those spots is because they look like they want to curl just a little bit, and I'm going to use the dimensionals to help me hold that flatter. Oops. Backing doesn't want to come off, that one. And as I've said before, dimensionals are inexpensive, and they give your projects a nice immediate wow. Just raising one layer of paper makes a nice, lovely difference. Okay, so next we need our flower here. And I'm going to sort of position things a little bit and then adhere them. But if you've watched my videos before, you know that's my usual operating procedure. Let's see if that's going to fit. Yes. Thought maybe I might need to switch to mini dimensionals. And I am going to pull a mini in here over on this side where some of my dots have come out. Yeah. Yeah, this one's peeking and I don't like it, so I'm going to pull that off and add a mini in here. Oops. There we go. And I'm going to pull this just off center a little bit, and I'm not trying to line it up with the outside edge. And then we'll just use that one that I had before right here. And now it's time to let's stick these in first. They're going to get a little multi-purpose glue on the back, but not all the way up to the top. And just put those in right here. Okay. And then we're going to layer these guys and add them with some multi-purpose glue. Might need just a tad more on this one. And let's move this back up into the frame a little closer. Okay, so sometimes my dimensionals get in the way, and I just need to talk to them a little bit, and so I can tuck my piece under there. And let's see, here's the tear and tape. So now we're going to add a little ribbon to this. So oops. Better use this so that I can get under just the, there we go. And I have some of the Just Jade in color ribbon. This is really a beautiful soft ribbon. And again, it's just 4 inches if you want to cut it ahead of time. Okay. And then we're going to add some of the bumblebee. Oops, I've lost my flower center. Hold on a second while I find that. And then next we're going to add a little zigzag with this bumblebee ribbon. And it's not hard, but it is just a tad fiddly. So I've added a glue dot. I want to angle cut my ribbon just a smidge there. And then I'm going to take that under and grab another glue dot for up here, and grab another glue dot, and you get the idea. We're going to do this all the way across. Oops, didn't quite hit the ribbon there. The point of the Take Your Pick tool is fabulous for getting in little places, and it's ideal here. Okay, and this is one of those reasons that I work from the spool. I would have had no idea when you do something like this just how much ribbon it will take. And so when you're working from the spool, there's no guesswork. So we're going to finish here and give this a little angle cut. And I'm going to add one more glue dot in here. And then let's shift things over out of the way just a little bit and add some embellishments. I've got some of the in-color enamel dots here. And we're going to add some cinnamon cider dots to the center of our flower. That'll kind of do that. And then let me see, I'm debating on a couple of the Just Jade dots. Okay, and there we are with another Celebrate Sunflowers card. You can find some more on my YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up and then subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell if you would like to receive notifications of my next videos. This was Sara Levin, the Artful Inker of theartfulinker.com. Thanks for stopping in. Bye.